I'd like to address the Frum Jewish community in Brooklyn and in the greater New York City area. We have been voting for Democrats in local elections for many, many years. It's not enough that we are voting for a Trump presidency. The problem is when we continue to vote in local elections for Democrats, we are voting for our demise. We are voting for the same policies that have been happening, the same destructive policies that we've been getting in the last couple of years. We had the Hanukkah, the anti-Semitism attacks, and now we have the draconian measures of the governor and the mayor, which is basically saying you cannot go to shul, you cannot go daven. Now, I, as a non-Frum person, believe that religious freedom comes first. Your First Amendment right to walk the streets of New York City or to peacefully protest is your right. It's just as important, equally important as going to a doctor, going to therapy, getting your medication. Why? Because it's your religious freedom. It's in the Constitution and it's a matter of faith. It's what keeps a lot of people going. End of story. A lot of you don't know this, but on May 9th, me and 8 others got arrested at City Hall because de Blasio didn't like that we assembled peacefully to protest his draconian measures. What did a guy like me protest for? I was protesting the shutdown, the lockdown, and the fact that you, yes you, can not go to shul or send your kids to yeshivas. And I'm not even religious, but I do understand how important religious freedom is. I was also protesting not only your religious freedom, but the rest of everybody else who wants to go to a church or a mosque, no matter their faith or lack of. Again, like I said, religious freedom is very important in my opinion, and I'm sure in your opinion, or to be able to open up a business so you can survive financially. Here is the issue. What I've been hearing, especially when I approached Heshi Tischler, again, I love what he did on 13th Avenue. I'm all for the peaceful protests. But when I approached him at the protest, asking him if he's running as a Republican or a Democrat, his response was he is running as a Democrat, and the reason is because otherwise he won't win. Here's the problem. Don't vote for Heshi. He didn't deserve to get arrested over this, but don't vote for Heshi. Don't vote for Kalman Yeager. Don't vote for Simcha Felder. Do not vote for Simcha Eichelstein because they're wearing a yarmulke. They don't have your best interest at heart. They have their own interest at heart. These Askanim have their own interest at heart. Their ego. The Rabbanim have their own interest at heart. If anybody in the Jewish community tells you to vote for a Democrat, don't listen to them. You're voting for the same policies. Go back to Hanukkah. What happened to Hanukkah? The stabbings, the anti-Semitic attacks. Yet the Frum Jewish community invited these politicians, de Blasio, Cuomo, and all these big machers to come to their Hanukkah lighting, into all those parties and all those other fundraisers. And all. What are you doing? You're voting for the demise of the Jewish community. This is 1940 all over again. Kristallnacht all over again. Who in their right mind would vote for the same freaking policies? So the answers I got from people on 13th Avenue at the protest when I told them not to vote for Democrats, and they were like, well, but then we're not going to have representation if we're running as Republicans or if we're voting for Republicans. You're right, money's not everything. We've seen what the Frum community could do. How fast they can get together and raise funds for institutions and for poor families, for this tzedakah organization, for that charity organization. Your First Amendment right comes first. Your religious freedom comes first. Your livelihood comes first.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto East 17th Street.
Way before money. Money is not important. Ladies and gentlemen, your safety comes first. Stop voting for the demise of your communities and your families and your values. When you vote for Democrats, you're voting for the demise of your values, your Jewish community, your religious freedom, your First Amendment right. I don't know what else to say, guys. So what do you think is going to happen?
Take the next right onto East 17th Street.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. You might not win as a Republican now in local elections. You are right, you won't have representative for the next 2, 3, 4 years. But the new generation of activists that will run as Republicans in 4 years from now will win. It's not about money. Your safety comes first. Your religion comes first. Your First Amendment rights come first. Trump 2020.